Section 4. Filtering. Filtering is an integral part of any report or dashboard. Showing data for specific date range, regions, products, and giving the consumer ability to change the selection is a mandatory skill to have. In this section, we will learn populating values in prompt control, using prompt parameters, mandatory prompts, cascaded prompts, and prompts on report page with auto submit. Populating values in prompt control. In video 2.4, we created prompt page in our sales dashboard report, and we had pulled a prompt called value prompt on the prompt page. In this video, we are going to take a look at how to populate values from database in prompt controls, adding hard-coded or static choices in the prompt control, and display value versus use value. So I've opened our dashboard and put it into edit mode. And I've clicked on this button on top right hand corner to open the properties area. And I'm in the page explorer where I'm seeing all the pages. So let's click on the prompt page and select this prompt control that we had pulled in video 2.4. Now notice that in the properties of this value prompt, we see an item called query. So essentially, every prompt control has a query associated with it, which can be used to retrieve values from database to populate those values in the prompt control. So what we are going to do next is we'll go to Query Explorer and create a new query by clicking on this plus icon. Double click on this query. Next, go to the data source. And because I want to populate years in the drop down, I will go into sales, open the time query subject, and drag year data item in this new query. And I'm going to change the name of the query by going into the property, and I will call it p_year. Now let's go back to our prompt page, select the value prompt, and from the property, associate it to the new query subject that we just created called p_year. And in use value, pick the data item called year. So essentially, we have now connected this value prompt control to the query p_year, and we have told Cognos that I want to retrieve the value of year column from database and show those values in this value prompt control. Let's save the report and see how it looks. So we can see now that Cognos is connected to the database and it has retrieved the values for the year column, which are being displayed in this drop down. If I select 2010 and then click on Finish button, I see that my data is still being shown for all the years, ranging from 2010 to 2012. So as soon as you create a prompt for years, all the data containers were getting filtered for the year. However, in this advanced authoring tool, we have to create those links manually. And we also have greater control when we create such links or filters. And we will see those in the next video. In this video, when we are focusing on populating the prompt control itself, let me show you another feature as well. Imagine that you want to display some static or hard-coded value in the prompt. And you can do that in addition to pulling the values from database. So in this case, all the years which are being pulled from database, ranging from 2010 to 2012, I also want to add a static choice called last year. And I can easily do that by going into the properties of value prompt and opening this static choices property and add a new item there called last year, and we'll mention the same word last year in use and display. Click on OK and hit OK again. Let's save this report and see it in action. So we can now see that in addition to the years being retrieved from database, we also see a static choice or a hard-coded choice called last year. And lastly, I would like to talk about the display value and use value feature. So when we added the static choice, we had to add the value twice, one time under use column and one time under the display column. So the idea is, if you want to display a value in the prompt which is more user-friendly value, but behind the scene you want to apply filter on a unique code or a unique key for that value, then you can do that by selecting or providing different sources for display value and use value. In this case, let me give you an example. So if I go to Query Explorer and open the p-year query subject, which is driving the values being shown in the value prompt, and we go into Toolbox and add a new data item here. I will call this data item as display values. And what I want to do is I want to append the word year in the beginning of the actual year. So in this data item, I'm typing the hard-coded value year and concatenating that with the database value from year column and hit OK. Now we'll go to our prompt page, and for the prompt control, I will select the display value property as the display values data item, which I've just created, and see how it looks. So we now see that the values are still being retrieved from the database, but instead of being shown as just the numbers 2010, 2011, and so on, the text year is being appended in front. So by this example, I just want to show you that there is a different display value. But if I pick year 2010, the actual value which will be used for filtering will be 2010 or 2010 without the text which is appended to it. And that is the difference between display value and use value. In our next video, we will see how those use values will be used for the filtering. So let's summarize what we have learned. In this video, we learned that prompt controls can be connected to queries to pull values from database, which will be presented to the end users for picking. You can also define hard-coded static choices in the value prompt. And we learned that display value and use value pairs are useful when you want to show a user-friendly value in the pick list, but use a corresponding code or unique value behind the scene for filtering.